Hey!
Welcome to
Phil.
The Solution.
Good deal.
This is a real estate podcast where we talk about the fact that it is time to put the consumer first and all of the hoopla podcasts, real estate stuff out there. You can go listen to other coaches about how to build business and how to improve customer experience, but here we talk about what we got to do to put the consumer first so that we stay in the business, profitable in the business, relevant, and today is actually...
Make happy clients.
Make happy clients, but today is episode 73.
Why no guests today?
Welcome to The Solution, a real estate podcast hosted by Jeff Seabach and Phil Sexton. It's time to put the consumer first in real estate. Our podcast offers state-of-the-art internet tactics and lead conversion methods. We teach you how to become a better realtor and a more valued resource that your sphere will want to use.
No, why no guests today? Because we're going to talk about the listing strategy that we utilize to ultimately we call the solution.
Right, we call this the solution, right? So what it is putting the consumer first and how it all, because we're going to tell them, we're going to give them the backstory?
This is it. This is what we started to do. What year was it? 2011?
I think 2011 was the development of the idea.
And
of
2012
was
first got rolled out.
was the introduction of finally after the emergence beyond the abyss, which was 2008 to 2011, right? Like the market was ready for it because I felt it before, but the market wasn't ready for it because people were just I have audio today. Oh. Keep it up. Oh, because there's a warning.
Warning.
Oh, warning. Okay. So today is probably the best listing strategy that you could learn to. I mean, it's grown our business by 1,700% over the last 6 years. But because the reason why there's a warning is because if you're new, we don't want you to do it yet.
This is kind of tied to the Pimp My Listing class.
Well, I mean, the classes that we offer, this is a huge integrated strategy that crosses many of them. Pimp My Listings is kind of demonstrates the power, the effect, it lays out all of the reasons why you should do it and how it's gonna quadruple your business. But I mean, other than that, then if you weren't interested in stuff like that, then maybe you wouldn't go to the Pimp My Listing class.
Okay, so it kind of relates to that class. Right?
Yes. No, I mean, absolutely. No doubt about it.
So let's get into it. What is it? Tell me some more. You got me now, Jeff.
Okay.
The hook.
But we didn't finish the warning. The warning is that
more
if you have sold less than, I think, 50 to 200 houses, then, I mean, no matter what, you should run this strategy by your broker, right? Like, I mean, this is a
strategies that
any strategy we discuss in here should be, but this one particularly because there's some recommendations that you're going to make that require your increased professionalism, your increased expertise before you can recommend, because it's not. Because the goal of our industry is to serve our clients, in my opinion. But to me, you have to have a level of expertise, and I think it's a level of being in houses. Honestly, I mean, I had already been in about 12,000 houses before I start recommending it. So if you haven't been in 12,000 houses yet, I don't want to give it away, but we're going to talk about some of the hurdles and things that we have to overcome We're going to talk about the objections that happen in the strategy, but first I want to talk about...
What's the strategy?
I want to talk about why the strategy was developed.
What strategy? That's what they're asking.
Oh, it's...
Right? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, okay. Well, the strategy is helping consumers get top dollar for their house by helping them upgrade the home.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's the encasing in the whole idea of what we're going to be talking about today. Okay, so why? So, I was a decent agent up until 2011. Like, I became an agent in 2003, and I basically sold, excluding the first year, between 25 and 33 houses a year for about 8 years. So I was in the, I had sold at the time around 200 or 300 houses. But I had spent a lot, each year I was going in about 1,000 houses a year. In 2008, I was in over 2,000 houses. But what we started to realize was there was a change. I mean, what it all came down to is I started to do more listings. As the goal was going out to do more listings. And when I was in the listings and I was talking to Phil.
Consumers?
The consumer.
The homeowner.
The seller.
Yes.
And when I went to the seller, they wanted usually two things.
Do I get to guess?
Yeah.
Top dollar.
Every single time.
Okay, more money.
They
wanted
more
money.
They wanted more money. Every time I went in there, they said, Jeff, we want this number.
Okay.
Now, I usually pulled comps before I went in there. I had previewed houses before I went in there, so I had a general idea. And after I looked at the house, they always said that they wanted more.
Right. 10% roughly, rule of thumb.
10% rule of thumb, right? Pretty
So
much.
they want 10%
Actually,
more.
what it is
One
just
thing that they
to
want
help them understand. The owner thinks the house is usually worth 10% more than the market value.
Well, I'm guilty of that. I want 10% more for my house as well.
So do I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so then I'm trying to think
normal.
The second thing that they always want every time is, I'm going to go with, does it start with a C?
No.
It's not certainty?
Well, I mean, they don't say that. They
What
do
do they
want
say?
that.
So
I
they
mean,
want
to me,
that.
they wanted to sell fast. Right,
Fast.
and the way that they say that is, can you just bring me one buyer that's gonna buy it?
Yeah, they don't want unqualified.
Yeah, that was we were in
Don't bring me anybody that's not
listing
gonna buy it.
we were in a listing appointment 2 days ago, and the lady's like, I don't want more traffic. I just want the one person that's gonna buy it. And I'm like, of course you do. Okay, good. Yeah. So the way, all right. So, and the third thing they want, because this is the solution, we usually ask is
said there were two.
Make it easy. No. This is not the easy strategy. This is the point out. Is they want it either easier, they want more money, or faster. That is the solution. I'm just saying that this is serving two of the three. This strategy is
Fair enough.
because it's not easy.
I sometimes am a seller. Okay. I host garage sales. And I want the people that come to my garage sale to always buy something.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like, I don't like the people that just walk through. I
You
want
kind of like get a disdain, like you're like, you really, there's nothing there
Exactly.
that is attractive to you.
I-
Like that's 50 cents over there.
Exactly. Like, I'll sell. You know what? Make me an offer. I'll sell it to you for a quarter. Like,
Right,
make
like-
me an offer. But
yeah,
if it says
like
$5,
we're here to negotiate.
and they don't think there's anywhere close to $5. They just keep walking, and I'm like, what did you stop for? Please.
So it was 2012, and it was in a community that I farmed and I sold regularly, and I that year I had sold a bunch of houses, and I went over for the listing appointment. Oddly enough, I had just lost the one next door because the agent had used a strategy to list it above where the value was to beat me, because they told him it was worth more, because I don't believe that that's a really good approach.
Okay.
I think that we're supposed to be honest with people where it is. But anyway, I had lost the neighbor like 2 doors down. So I walk into this house, and they wanted, because that house was all pimped out. That house was, it was a single woman that lived here, and she just had great taste. What I call, to me, the listing sold because it was a 10.
yeah.
Because
special good.
Special good, like everywhere. Like she upgraded her kitchen, and she had a wood accent, and it was just not your run-of-the-mill house in any way. Anyway, but I went into this next house, and they had bought the house in 1998. It was built. They were the original. They chose the lot, like that. This person. And he had pulled out his, I want to say, and I don't know if this is right, 118 is anything the number. $118,000 worth of upgrades that he put in his house.
Okay.
Now, mind you, this is 2012, the year that I'm
Okay.
telling the story about, not 1998. He had put the upgrades in his house in 1998.
Oh,
so
okay.
now 14 years later,
He's giving you the receipts.
yes.
And he's giving you the cost that he paid for his house, plus
Yes.
the receipts, and now here's the value.
Right, because he said those famous words, my house is really upgraded. And, you know, in 1998 standards, it was upgraded.
Yeah.
Gorgeous Corian countertops.
Yes.
Right? Beautiful,
White tile?
it was white tile. Yeah.
Right.
Right? And the living room was carpet, with a huge pad underneath it, like 5/8-inch pad.
The upgraded pad.
The upgraded pad. After he and his family lived on it with kids and pets for 14 years, you get the idea, right? Like if you've sold a few houses, I'm gonna go with the word matted down, right? But clean, because she cleaned the house before I got there, because it was a listing appointment and it was clean.
Yep.
And they said, look at how well this carpet has held up. And I was like, yes, I mean, for having, what's the train station in New York?
Union Square? Union
No.
Station?
No,
It's
it's
not.
not.
Central?
Grand Central
Central
Station,
Station,
right?
nice.
Right now, they didn't have that many people go through it, but it was clear that it had been used pretty regularly.
Yeah.
Okay, so in them, they had cultured marble.
Was it still white or was it yellowing?
Well, you know, it's 14 years later. It's never.
Yes, it gets a little,
it starts
a little
to-
more cultured.
A little more, yeah, a little more, you know. And, you know, when you have cultured marble and you have a woman that curls her hair regularly, sometimes
Oh.
you start to heat up the plastic.
Your burn marks.
Just
You
a
burn
few,
it.
just a few.
Right.
I mean,
Yes.
but it was clean and it was beautiful and it was, I mean, it was really still, I mean, in excellent shape for being 14 years old.
And burned.
Minus the few little, you know.
Yeah.
I think she
Good.
might have sometimes painted
was
her
the
nails.
was the faucet drip marked on the inside
I
of the
think
sink?
every faucet after 14
Okay,
years
yeah,
drips,
nice.
right? So they had these gorgeous white appliances.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. That
Top of the line.
I mean, this house was, you know, in the 700 range.
The way that you're describing this house, though, I can tell. I love how sarcastic you are. Don't get me wrong. All of our listeners
You've been there,
appreciate
you've been there,
it.
right?
But I think that-
$118,000 worth of upgrades.
yeah, Jeff, you're describing, like, we have those clients, though, they say it differently. They don't bust out the $118,000 of receipts. Sometimes they just say, this was the model home.
Oh, it was the model home.
Yeah.
It was the model home.
Yeah, like, they'll point out the sawed-off bolt marks in the driveway where
Yeah.
the fence used to be,
Yeah.
right? Like, this was it in 15 years ago.
Well, because they had chosen a premium lot and there was no one behind, except now they built, because when they built it, the next door neighbor community was not built, and this was the best lot looking at the mountains. But then, son of a bitch, they built 2 stories back there, right? So
Yes.
now we changed the things a little bit. Anyway, so the conversation went like this. So he said, you know, we'd like to get, he wanted, I think it was $850.
Okay.
And based upon the upgrades, the house was worth about $750.
Okay.
Okay. So we had a little conversation, and I was at the time, there wasn't as much support.
Raul says they always say they paid premium for the lot. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
always, yeah,
Yep.
right. Because they paid a lot. This is a house. It's expensive. So I said, you know, you want $850. He's like, we're not selling unless we get $800. And I had been in this model, not his model, but it was a subdivision that I frequented very often. I had been in the floor plan.
You knew there was no way.
I knew that there was no way
In the current condition.
in the current condition that it was just because at the time I was primarily a buyer's agent. Okay, and I was helping web buyers move from out of town. They would come in, even local people. I'd meet them in open houses. I was being a buyer agent, and we would go in house after house. And the previous, I'm gonna go with, I worked with about 20 buyers a year for about 6-7 years. So about 140 buyers, right? Because what I would do is I would go out and look at anywhere between 30 and 50 houses for a buyer, and then I would show them anywhere between, because at that time they couldn't see the houses on the internet. They couldn't
That's when
see
they had 6 pictures that were really small.
So we had to go see every house. So they would, I mean, at the time I was showing people.
Do you not have to go see every house now? Is that what you mean?
The people don't want to go anymore.
Oh, okay.
I still think we need to go because we need to be house experts. But
that's
we're back on we're just trying to help this consumer out. So, but going in those houses, that when I showed the houses, because I would take out the bad one, but sometimes I would show them, they would see a house and they wanted to see it or whatever, and I would show them the good, bad, and the ugly. And the buyers would describe the house as, oh no, we're going to have to gut it.
You're going to have to restate that. They would describe the house as what?
Did
you say, oh no, we're going to have to gut it?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Was that 95% of the buyers said, I wanted to gut it. The guy that was looking for the fixer-upper who wanted to offer $200,000 less than asking price for every house we saw, he thought that was a perfect house. But he wanted to pay, did you think he wanted to pay top dollar? Did you think he wanted to pay full price, slightly off, or get up and steal?
Get up and steal.
Right, he wanted to get up and steal
Yeah.
because he was going to have to do all of the work.
Wait a minute, I have an app here that has a button that I just saw. He wanted to get a... It doesn't work now? Is that how this works?
Maybe
Well,
you should get a
forget
new
it.
phone for Christmas.
Hey, that's a good idea if Santa's listening. He wanted to get a steal. It's a lot of effort for that beep right there.
Hey, no, but that was good though. That would work. Hey, he wanted to get a steal. Good deal. Way to go.
Oh, yeah. Top of the line. You see that? If anybody wants to know what
ingenuity
the app
on the
is,
fly.
there it
Anyway,
is.
so back to the story. So the hard part about this is that the owners want you to love their house.
Yes.
And they want you to agree with them.
Oh, that's why I turned the volume on.
Okay, yeah. So they want you to agree with them, and they don't always love your advice. So that's why I think you need to work on this, because you need to have a little experience, because you need to be able to articulate this. And
so after you've been in, you worked with 140 buyers, you saw 50 houses
At least,
each.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
now in all these different houses so that
Yeah.
you started to be able to identify the granular trends of certain houses, and you started to be able to value the slight differences on certain houses and to see how far a house needed to be upgraded or not, to whether or not the buyer came in to say this is a full gut job or not.
yeah, well, I mean, I noticed that there were certain things. Is what we came up with this list called the functional obsolescence. Is that when it had certain items, now it was originally 57 items, and now we've kind of rolled it out to be like 74 items, that if a house has it, the buyer actually wants to pay less for the house.
Right, like a short backyard is one example. If
Like
it's
a
got
short backyard.
If it's got a backyard that's over on the side of the house rather than on the back of the house.
Right, that's
then-
actually two, short backyard and side backyard, but yes, yes.
like those are just
Both
to
functional
give-
obsolescence,
right.
right. Yes, and in this case, the functional obsolescence was home was original condition more than 10 years ago.
Right.
Right? Because the biggest thing that what people weren't realizing at the time is the trend changed.
Of course.
In the dark
It continues to
in the
change.
dark hours of 2008, Tuscan went, do you ever flush the toilet?
I turned my volume back off. Tuscan went down the drain.
Tuscan went down the drain. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but the area that I was selling the houses in, Tuscan was the primary. Do you have toilet sounds? I love it.
No,
Oh,
that's
okay.
not one.
Certainly not. Do you have toilet sound?
Toilet sound.
Yeah. Anyway, but it went down the drain. So what it means is that no longer was Tuscan the... Okay, well, something like that. But
that wasn't a toilet.
The trend had changed away from the Tuscan. So now, so I did down the toilet. Tuscan went down the toilet. I knew you were resourceful. Okay, good. So Tuscan went down the toilet. So, but as the trends were starting to change, so I really wanted to sell his house because it was in my target neighborhood, and he said if I don't get 800, and I was like, you know what? If we list it higher, it's not going to sell. It's going to sit in the market because his expectation, Phil, is how long did you think that he thought it was? How long the house should be on the market on before he sells it? Because remember, he is the model. He's got the best lot. Yeah.
I'm going to push the fast forward button on you, okay, Jeff?
Yeah, always.
Right? Let's get to the point where you say to the homeowner, we need to upgrade these things, and the homeowner says what to you?
Get out.
Right. No, I'm not upgrading
Actually,
these things.
he told the next. I said, you know,
our staff goes over there, and the staff says, as long as Jeff doesn't come back, we'll work with you.
Yes. Yeah, he was so pissed off because I started to make recommendations like, you know, put granite in, like in backsplash appliances, and then.
So how do you overcome those objections when somebody says? Because that's what I want to get to for our listeners is we're here to talk about overcoming the objections that all sellers have when you say, okay, seller, we're going to get your number, but we need you to invest X amount of money into your house in order to get that.
Yeah. So the way that I mean, we had to build up to that because that's not easy. But the thing is
here's the deal. In our market, in our industry, we actually are given a little bit of leniency on accuracy when it comes to how much you want to list the house for.
True.
But when it comes to upgrading houses,
you need to be
you gotta have accuracy.
Yeah.
So the system is designed to work with this inaccurate numbers. Like let's go with whatever. Like you.
Well, I mean, here's how it worked out: is that I was a buyer's agent, and I started during the downturn. My clients started to. They were buying. Did the beep again?
No.
In steals, but they were all torn up because they were short sales and foreclosures. So as a core buyer strategy, I started to recruit workmen.
Okay.
So that, and I would help them when they went back home to California or they went back home to Chicago, that I would help them make updates to their houses. So having watched that experience, and then I would,
document how much things cost.
Yeah, I would
upgrade.
Right, I would document. I would see they put it in or whatever. So then, when I saw granite being installed, or I saw stainless steel appliances, or whatever it was, then I used that experience in going through those processes. I was like, and because what I started to realize is that people gave prices to different items in the house, and that what it was is that when I started representing more sellers, when they would do it themselves, they would put like $50,000 into a master bath because the owner would always put in all these custom touches.
Well, the owner, when they're selling the house, the owner wants to make it
their own,
something they would live in case it doesnn't sell. And something that they would live in always costs twice as much as something that will sell.
Oh yeah, no. When we upgraded my house, we overspent what I thought was needed by a lot. That's just what happens in reality of when you do it for yourself. But when you're selling the house, you're trying to get it to that. Because the thing is most people always they think gut, and they always make the same recommendations,
and they overestimate. When you think gut, you're gonna put 6 figures on that number instead of what you could do for.
Well, I mean,
40.
the way that I realize is that when the people would come from Chicago and they're like, I gotta gut this bathroom, they said, Jeff, that's gonna take $60,000. I'm like, I can get it done for you for like 18. And they'd be like, okay, then we'll buy the house. And I'm like, well, that worked, right? Do it again. right? So what I realized is this was one of the tools I put in my tool belt in going out, is that, helping people with, because what happens is they usually could get a deal on the house that wasn't finished, and vice versa. Like, it just understanding this dynamic is a very, very valuable thing.
Good.
So what is the objections?
The objections are,
they
no, I'm not
hate
doing
the
it.
idea.
I want to hire the agent that's going to sell it for $850. I'm sorry. I want to hire the agent that's going to tell me they're going to sell it for $850 as is, because that's what's the button?
I don't know.
The easy button.
The easy button. Oh, I got that in my car.
And you're promoting, you've got to spend X amount of money out of your pocket and live through this. Does anybody love remodeling their house? Is that something that's easy to live through?
No,
they hate it every single time?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you're not...
They bitch a lot.
So you're not promoting the easy button, but you guys are talking about the same numbers. So what is it? Like, I know that we're doing the Pimp My Listing class in San Diego in January.
Yeah.
Like, is that where you go through how you set them up? Because it's not a script. It's not like you could give me 3 lines that are going to work every time.
No.
It's a process.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. Now more than ever, it is important to put the consumer first. Check us out on all major streaming platforms like SoundCloud, iTunes, Player FM, Google Play, and Stitcher. Information about one-on-one coaching or solution events, text 480-530-7972.